Hey all, Avros here, back with the next Lufenia Plus fight. This one is the fight against the raid bosses for Shadow's LD release. This fight is against the CPU and its 2 nodes, and they have an orb that spawns at quest start with a 10 count and increases by 6 for an evaded attack, so some units of this Shadow of course, Galuf, all the usual suspects there for that one, and by 1 for an attack that ignores defense, so Shadow again is in that group, Auron, Cid Raines, again anyone that has defense ignoring attacks will count for this one. Keep in mind obviously that a increase of 1 means that the orb just essentially doesn't go down for the turn when they get hit by that effect, unless it's under summon or a burst phase. The major note for this one is that you can't kill both of the nodes before killing the CPU itself. This is due to the boss triggering the run emergency program if both die, which will remove all debuffs from the boss other than gold frames, will make itself immune to delay and delete effects, and on its next turn it uses Object 199, which cleanses all debuffs again, will do an AoE Dispel of all buffs on your party, and then deals an AoE HP attack equal to 99% of the boss's current HP, as well as inflicts a 10% maximum HP down debuff for the next 3 turns. After Object 199 is used, which has an instant turn rate, meaning its turn will come immediately after, it will also use Regenerate, which will respawn both of the nodes, and remove the immunity to delay and delete from the boss, and will massively increase the stats of the nodes for the remainder of the fight. This one is another one where the strategy for this fight is the Raines Airline Special, something to keep in mind for any non-launch damage reducing Lufenia Plus bosses, that Raines is very good for any sort of these fights. And all attacks of this strategy, keep in mind, are on the CPU itself as the target until it dies, so there's no target swapping, it's all on the main CPU. So this one starts off with getting Kurasame's call up into his LD call to maximize the stacks, and then I use Cid's LD to get Aphmau next in the turn order, and then once Aphmau had her turn, I was prepared to use Jack's LD call on Aphmau until I realized I still had Ace equipped and hadn't switched it out for Jack, which was a rookie mistake, but decided to try the fight anyway with Ace's call and see how it worked, so used Ace's LD call to get some extra damage from that, and then swapped Aphmau out for friend Raines, who then used his LD to get Bartz next in the turn order. With Bartz as the next turn up, I used his burst phase and the usual turn order in burst phase before Bartz has his mastery up, so just go ahead and get that usual turn order down. And then after this it was my Raines turn, so used his skill 2 to bring friend Raines up as the next turn, keeping an eye on the orb count as summon was now ready. Using LD on friend Raines, I got Bartz as the next turn to stack his BT aura, so the usual sort of setup here when you have this sort of Cid Mau set up in the party, you want to go ahead and use Bartz's AA, Cait's LD call, and then use Bartz's LD attack to get the buff fully stacked. Then when it was Raines' turn, I used his LD onto the friend Raines, and with the orb getting down low, I used friend Raines onto my own Raines with his LD as well, and then summoned with Pandemonium. So this allows for the launchers to increase the orb under the summon, as they do ignore the defense. The plus 1 will actually add to the count during summon phase. This gets it back up just to make sure you've got that buffer at the end of the fight if you need it. And then during summon, it was Raines into Raines shenanigans, the usual sort of setup you're looking for there. Taking the opportunity on one turn with my own Raines to keep his buffs up by using Ruanga Storm, into a Bartz turn where I just used double hand to make sure Bartz wasn't jumping too far ahead in the turn order like Missile can possibly do, and then kept Raines' overhead buff as his turn came next with his EX as well, as the friend Raines' turn was immediately after him, so that all worked out fine. After the summon expires in this fight, it's just simply a matter of using the last couple of launches there between the 2 Raines and using Aphmau as well, chaining it to Raines to finish up the CPU. It shouldn't have too much health left coming out of summon if you follow the same sort of setup. Even less health if you're using Jack's call on Aphmau instead of Ace. And then once you've got that all done, cleaning up the nodes, the usual Cid Mau setup there will stop them ever getting a turn. They shouldn't have much of a chance of getting a turn already anyway with how you've set up the party, but just, you know, simple cleanup there and not much to really worry about with getting rid of those nodes. There's not a huge amount of threat if you don't let them have a turn, and with the CPU gone, there's no orb to worry about, so you're all good there. On that note, thanks for watching. If you want any further assistance with this fight, please ask in the comments down below. Happy to discuss any other alternative strategies for this one, and enjoy the rest of the video.
さあ行こう。不滅では終わらない。待っていたよ。助け合いだ。そこだ。さあ行こう。全ての力を持って呪縛を待っていたよ。助け合いだ。そこだ。光よ、切り開いてみせよう。待っていたよ。そこだ。魂よ、力となる。待っていたよ。助け合いだ。そこだ。さあ行こう。不滅では終わらない。待っていたよ。助け合いだ。そこだ。さあ行こう。不滅では終わらない。待っていたよ。助け合いだ。そこだ。
ありがとう。頼もしいわ。まだまだ。やっちゃえ。縁も竹縄だな。
さあ行こう。不滅では終わらない。助け合いだ。そこだ。
頼りにしてるから任せてよ。
光よ、切り開いてみせよう。助け合いだ。そこだ。
頼りにしてるから任せてよ。
魂よ、力となれ。助け合いだ。そこだ。
まだまだ。やっちゃえ。縁も竹縄だな。面白くなってきたの。あーしまい。
助け合いだ。待っていたよ。さあ行こう。不滅では終わらない。
やうだって。
助け合いだ。そこだ。
頼りにしてるから任せておけ。
光よ切り開いてみせよう。助け合いだ。そこだ。
頼りにしてるから任せておけ。
魂よ力となれ。
やるだって。
助け合いだ。そこだ。
まだまだやっちゃえ。縁も竹縄だな。面白くなってきたの。あーしまい。
さあ行こう。全ての力を持って呪縛を
やるだって。
助け合いだ。そこだ。
頼りにしてるから任せておけ。
助け合いだ。待っていたよ。光よ切り開いてみせよう。
やるだって。
助け合いだ。そこだ。
頼りにしてるから任せておけ。
さあ行こう。全ての力を持って呪縛
やるだって。
を助け合いだ。そこだ。
まだまだやっちゃえ。縁も竹縄だな。面白くなってきたの。あーしまい。
助け合いだ。待っていたよ。さあ行こう。不物では終わらない。
やるだって。
助け合いだ。そこだ。
頑張れ。それ以上は近寄らない。期待以上だ。
魂よ力となれ。助け合いだ。
やるだって。
そこだ。諸君無事だったようだな。